In terms of economy, Sinberries could sell milk and fizzy drinks in returnable glass bottles as part of a drive to halve the amount of plastic packaging is used over the next 6 years. This UK's second largest supermarket uses nearly 120,000 tons of plastic packaging a year and is pledging to slash that figure by 50% by 2025, with its own label and branded grocery products coming under scrutiny. In 2018, the retailer reduced plastic packaging by 1%. Sainsbury's chief executive Mike Cobb said eliminating packaging was not easy because the material kept food safe and fresh, but acknowledged that the economy is certainly needed to reduce its impact on the planet. He said, "We must therefore find alternatives to plastic that protect the quality of our food while minimizing our impact on the environment." The company will provide twice yearly updates on the progress it is making. Sainsbury's said the push on plastic goods means using alternative materials such as glass, lightweight plastics, and the introduction of refillable packaging at scale. Following analysis of its plastic footprint, the retailer said the biggest problems were milk carton, packaging on fruit and vegetables, and containers for fizzy drinks, water and fruit juice. To meet the target, the chain suggested customers would have to alter how they shop. Single-use plastic milk bottles replaced with refillable bottles or reusable jug with milk sold in a lightweight plastic pond were among the options being considered. As concern over the scale of unnecessary plastic waste grows, a Guardian investigation has revealed that Britain big supermarkets have been generating more than 800,000 tons of it every year. Last month, Tesco said it was considering banning brands that use excessive packaging from its stores. Dave Lewis, Tesco chief executive, said the company would reserve the right not to list products with too much non-recyclable packaging from next year onwards. Louis Edge, head of Greenpeace UK Ocean Plastic Campaign, said Sainsbury's had come bottom in its 2018 league table ranking the UK supermarkets' policies on plastic. This is a victory for the tens of thousands of customers who lobbied them to do better. He used plastic reduction and bringing in refillable packaging at scale are vital to tackling the plastic pollution crisis. Sainsbury's said it would not be able to hit the target without help from the wider industry and the general public. It is looking to collaborate with food manufacturers, packaging firms, academics, and even its rivals, and will on Friday co-host a summit with the Natural Environment Research Council. It has also created an area on its website for individuals to submit ideas to help reduce plastic packaging. Good morning. Vietnam named among world's fastest growing travel destination. Vietnam is the only Southeast Asian country among 10 world's fastest growing travel destinations, according to a United Nations report. The country's tourism industry is moving in the right direction, and its 2018 visitor numbers rose at one of the fastest rates in the world. The 2019 Tourism Highlights report released by the United Nations World Tourism Organization early this week said, in Southeast Asia, most destinations posted strong growth, particularly Vietnam. Outbound tourism from China and India fueled growth in many destinations in the region. Vietnam foreign visitor numbers rose 19.9% to a record 15 million last year, putting it 10th in the list of fastest growers, which was topped by Ecuador with 51%. Iran was second with 49.9% and Egypt third with 36.8%. The rest of the top 10 were Uganda 31.9%, Comoros 28.2%, Nepal 24.8%, Slovenia 23.4%, Turkey 21.7%, and Palestine 20.5%. The report said France was the most visited country in 2018 with 89 million, followed by Spain and the US. Thailand remained the region's largest destination, attracting around 38.2 million foreign arrivals. The Asia Pacific region had the second highest market share of 25% after Europe 51%. The Americas were third with 15%. In the Asia Pacific, growth was significant in Southeast and South Asia. Southeast Asia received 128.7 million visitors, a 7.8% increase, the highest rate in Asia. Growth in international tourist arrivals and receipts continues to outpace the world economy, and both emerging and advanced economies are benefiting from rising tourism income, said Jurab Ola-Likashvili, Secretary General of the UNWTO. Tourism last year contributed 8.39% to Vietnam's GDP. The government seeks to make the industry an economic spearhead, with visa waivers for several countries in Asia and Europe. The government expected to see around 20 million foreign visitors in 2020 and earn 35 billion in annual revenues by then, equivalent to 10% of GDP, according to the Vietnam National Administration of Tourism. Vietnam will become a leading travel destination in the next 5 years. The latest Asia Pacific Visitor Forecast report released by the Pacific Asia Travel Association said. About politics, nobody loves a lecture from the speaker more than John Bercow. This pompous and self-regarding speech showed that, despite often being right, it's a hard man to like. Do not go gentle into that good night. John Bercow may have announced he will be standing down as Speaker at the close of proceeding in the House of Commons on 21 October. But there was never any chance he would take Dylan Thomas' poem as anything other than a direct instruction. In his remaining time in office, he is hell-bent on taking no prisoners. And in the 6th annual Bingham lecture, delivered to an audience of lawyers, Bercow put the government on notice. For someone who has so often been on the side of the angels in allowing Parliament to hold the executive to account and in championing the rights to women and race equality, the Speaker can be a hard man to love, not just because of the allegation, abuse, and loss of temper towards his staff, but also because of his total self-regard. No one could possibly think more of than Berkow. He's a man who looks in a mirror and falls in love at first sight. Like most narcissists, Berkow is totally unable to judge the mood of a room. He can't conceive the possibility that his theatrical and repetitive delivery might benefit from being cut short. If he feels something is worth saying, then it's worth saying at least 3 or 4 times. It can make any standard exposure to him extremely debilitating. And when he's open by apologizing for being late because he had trouble with the taxi, many were already privately wishing he might have been detained indefinitely. Berkow then got to the matter in hand. 10 years ago, Parliament had been as good as that on its feet. The government of the day held total sway, and presidents had been reduced to mere lobby fodder, incapable of original thought or action. But then a new speaker had been elected. He was far too modest to say just who that remarkable man might have been who completely changed the character of Commons. Having spent the best part of 20 minutes explaining how he had saved Parliament from itself, Berkow moved on to what had been built as the main subject of his lecture. Brexit. Here he made it plain he wasn't going to sit back and let the government do what it liked. He believed an interventionist God, and he was it. There was only 3 possible outcomes. Parliament could agree a deal. It could vote to overturn the bill, preventing a no deal, or the government could ask for an extension. That's the end to it, he declared. Period. End of subject. Except it wasn't, because it never is with Berkow. There is no void that cannot be improved by him saying more. It was unthinkable that a government could even have thought of applying to the Queen, let alone imply that it would not abide by the rule of law. It would not allow it. War had implicitly been declared on Boris Johnson, even for lawyers who are not averse to a bit of rumpola in their summing up speeches. It was all getting a bit much. They had got the point long ago and agreed with it. But Berkow was in a world of his own. On and on he went, becoming even more large remote and his nobility. Elsewhere there wasn't a wet eye in the house.